Okay, so before we get going, this is the unit from AliExpress. As you can see, it comes in a nice white box, which says Discovery Sport 15 to 19, which matches what I've got. So what we've got in here is a screen. So it looks slightly bigger than the one that's built into the car unit. There's a great big wiring harness with two connectors here, which is a loop through for the sort of brains of the entertainment unit, so you can retain the existing functionality, as well as this one here, which I assume connects into the screen, and a bunch of other ones which are labelled. So we've got, what have we got here? ACC, camera, 360 detection, camera plus 12 volts, and yeah, I'm not sure which of these I will need to connect. There's also two USB leads that come off it as well, which I assume are to do software updates and to connect maybe media into it. So that's the wiring harness. What else do we have here? We have a SIM card reader, so you can add 4G to the unit. We have a USB auxiliary input, so you can plug things into it. And we have a mic connector, so you can plug a 3.5mm microphone jack into it. We've also got a reverse camera. I won't be using that because the car's got one built in. Hopefully it will still work. We've got some antennas here. So this is the 4G antenna. And this is going to be the GPS antenna as well. And then this is the back plate. So the screen will mount to the front of it here, and on the rear we've got the connectors. So these are the connectors from the harness. This looks like the connector from the existing unit, so that looks like the one we'll be taking out. And we've got the GPS and the 4G antenna parts in here as well. So this is a 2017 Land Rover Discovery Sport, and in this one we've got the InControl Touch Pro system. As you can see here, it's slightly larger than the standard one that comes with this model of car. It's a great system. It's got a sat-nav built into it, as well as all of the things that control the car. For example, heated seat controls that are done through here as well. You can also get telemetry data about how your driving has been, your eco data. You can see your cameras, your rear camera is accessible through this as well, as you can see there. The problem is, if you've got 2018, there is an issue that the software can't easily be upgraded, which means you then miss out on interesting features like new sat-nav maps, and crucially for me, Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So I have tried a couple of different dealers, but they've refused to upgrade it, saying that they're afraid it's going to brick the system. So instead, I'm going to replace it with a new system that I have bought from AliExpress. I'll put a link to that in the video. But yeah, essentially what we need to do is take off all of the interior trim. So we're going to start in this side here, remove this panel. Obviously this side panel needs to come out, this one needs to come out, this one needs to come out. The same on the other side. So on the driver's side, we're going to start with that panel right there. The trim above the binnacle, this trim needs to come out. Once we do that, we can then remove the silver bits, which will allow us to remove the AC unit, which will allow us to disconnect the screen, and then replace the computer, which apparently in this car is underneath the driver's seat. So we'll come to that later, but for now, let's start just stripping out the components. Okay, so starting from the passenger side, the first thing we're going to need to do is take off this end panel here. So to do that, you need to pull away the trim, which I'll try and do one-handed, which will reveal the edge of it. And then from there, you should be able to just get some fingers underneath it to prise it out, which I don't think I'm going to do one-handed, so I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so I've just pry barred under here. I'm just going to pull this away now. You can see it's just held on with some spring clips. This is hiding some Torx screws here, one there and one there. I think these are Torx T27, so I'm not mistaken, which will allow us to take off this unit. While we're at it, we're also going to pull off this panel here, which I think I should be able to just tug off. Again, get my fingers underneath it, pull it out, and that's off as well. So in here we've got some smaller Torx, which are from memory T20s, I think. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 which need to come out there. So let's get on with that. We've just got one more screw which I think is hidden under this bit, so I'll leave that for a moment and get on with removing this section next. And that's that section out. You will notice the screws are 2 different lengths, so we have a longer one and a slightly shorter one on the right. The shorter ones are used when 2 panels have been joined together, like here, whereas the longer ones are used when we're screwing into like the main body of the car. Now that this is undone, we should be able to just force it out. It's a little bit tricky because it's kind of wedged in place, so if you just sort of pull on it and twist it, it will eventually just drop through. Probably a two-handed job. Okay, that's now out. One little tip there is if you just pull on this piece of trim here, it will come out much more easily. And that reveals the one last screw holding in the, I know what that is, above the glove box basically, but there's one screw right here. And that screw is now out, so we can just carry on with pulling the rest of this off, which will come away quite easily. Revealing the next set of screws. So the next thing we need to do is remove this trinket tray here. So it's held on by 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and it's also blocked in place by the air vent, which needs to come out as well. So it's another 2 of those T20s. And with those screws removed, we can pull the air vent out slightly and then remove this whole trinket tray, and again pop it into the back. So next up, we basically need to do the same thing on the other side. So again, we're going to start with the door trim, the end panel, the bolts in here, removing this panel, which will allow us to loosen up the binnacle cover before we remove this one. We'll also need to remove this side panel here as well. It's much the same as the other side, but let's get on with it. So 1 and 2. That is removed, which means we should now be able to pull this out, I think, somehow. That's out. Revealing, again, we've got the 2 smaller Torx here. We've got this one and this one here, which will loosen up to the binnacle. And now with those removed, I can just pull out this air vent as well, as much as it needs to. And then start loosening up this. So this is clipped in amongst the top here as well. So I think I just need to pull on it to loosen it. Yeah, okay, that's that side done. I'll need to do the same on this side once I have removed this piece here. And to remove this piece, much like the other side, first of all I need to remove this trim panel, which I should be able to get my fingers under and pull out. Same applies as last time, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and one I didn't put in last time. So let's just drop that out now. So with those screws removed, I should be able to pull this piece out, and like last time, if you just pull this away, it will drop away much easier. It's got somewhere to go, and that can come out, revealing the last screw here, which holds in this piece. So with that screw removed, this piece should just pull up and out. Right, so next up we need to remove the central console. So from what I recall, lift the lid up and it basically should just pry upwards with a bit of force. Quite a lot of force. And then there's this clip stick the whole length of it, so that's it. That can now just be moved to the side. It is still attached to the gear selector. I should need to remove that actually. There's enough play on that that will allow me to pull this section here away. Because what we're looking for now is the screw at the bottom of the silver section, which will allow us to remove this trim panel on both sides. Okay, so that screw is now out, so I think this just pulls away. Actually goes forwards, I think that's it, so it just pulls forward from there and out, which then is going to reveal the screws around the AC unit, and obviously we've got the screws around the screen starting to be revealed as well. Okay, so back into the passenger side now. So again, we're going to do the same thing here. We've got 2 screws to remove from this side panel before we can pull it away to get to the screw that's right here under the silver panel. And with that screw removed, same thing applies. We can pull forward. Oh no, we can't actually. I've just noticed this one here is still in, so let's just buzz that one out quickly. Okay, and with that one gone now, I should be able to pull the whole silver trim forwards and remove that too. Okay, that is up and out. I just dropped a clip off of the trim there, so I'm just going to pick that one up and make sure we don't lose it. Again, you can see one's come loose there too. Okay, next step is going to be to remove the AC panel. So it's held on by the 4 screws in these corners here. Obviously these are now only revealed once the silver trim has been taken out, so let's get on with removing that. Okay, and with those screws removed, this just pulls out quite easily, revealing in my unit the CD player. If you don't have InControl Touch Pro, this actually reveals the whole brains of the stereo unit, so this is essentially the last step to removing it. However, when you have got InControl Touch Pro, this is about the midway point. So the next thing I want to do is just remove these wires going into the AC panel. So there's one there, one there, one more here. So just squeeze and pull, and that can be taken out now. And then we need to go ahead and remove the screen. So to remove the screen, there is a screw up here, right in the corner, another one here, another one here. You'll need to remove this screw here, which holds in the vents, and this one here. Then the same on the other side. So again, you've got the one that holds in the trim, one that holds in the vent, one that holds in the screen mount. And then there are still the other 2 which are hidden under this bit. So we need to also remove this screen and pull this trim out of the way, which we'll do in a moment. Okay, so all the screws along here are removed, and I've done the same on this side as well. This screw here is what holds in place the start, stop and trim. Once that's out, you basically get your fingers underneath it and kind of pull it towards you, and the whole thing will come out and reveal the last screw for the head unit. Actually, that's not the last screw. There was one final one right in this section here. So you just need to pull the start stop button away, pull down the trim on top of the instrument cluster, and then I don't know if you can just about see that there. There's a screw right in there, but that should be everything that holds the screen in place now. Okay, so I've now removed the screen from the bracket it was sat on. Basically, you have to get the bottom of the screen and push it upwards just under this bit, and then the bottom piece will pull out. If you try and pull it out without lifting it, the bottom of the screen here will fail on the back of the vents. But I now should be able to lift the screen out and just disconnect the one connector that's holding it in play there. So there is a clip on it which I need to squeeze and then pull out. And that is now a fully removed screen. For the next part, I'm going to need to disconnect the battery because for those of you lucky enough to be upgrading from an InControl Touch Pro, you need to remove the driver's seat, which is connected to the SRS system. So to disconnect the battery, the first thing to do is to open the front bonnet or front hood, pull the lever, and then come around to the front of the car. Pull the little toggle under the O and lift it. and the battery looks like it's hidden under this trim here. So let's get that removed. So these actually are finger tight, so you just grab hold of and twist them. And that is the fifth and last one. So hopefully that will just pull up. Let these pop out, make sure I grab those. Including the one that just fell down there. And there is the battery. And the final clip that dropped. So what we need to do here is remove the negative terminal connection, which is over here. Okay, so the negative terminal is clamped onto the post using this clip here, this bolt here. So I've just got a 10mm socket and I'll undo this now. With that loosened up, I can just remove this from the battery terminal and pull it to the side so it doesn't reconnect. Just temporarily reconnected the battery because I realised the bolts to remove the seat are hidden. So if you've got electric seat, you need power to do this. So I've just moved the seat all the way backwards, which reveals these two bolts here. So there's one there and there's one there to take out. Okay, so I don't have the right type of ratchet end to remove these. However, a 10mm socket does fit over it, makes a good connection. These bolts are done up super tight because obviously if you're in an accident, these are the only things holding your seat to your chassis, so you are going to need a bit of force to remove it, but when you do, it reveals these great big bolts with grease on the end of them. So there's 1 and 2 at the front. I'll need to repeat the same for the back now. And again, the rear bolts are blocked by the seat, so we're just going to have to slide it all the way forward this time to get to it. Okay, so that's the seat all the way forward, and you can just about see maybe it's revealed the back brackets as well. So I'm just going to jump into the back and get those removed too. Okay, so that's the battery terminal removed. I've just popped a bit of card in there just so it can't fall back onto the terminal under any circumstances. And just go and blip the horn just to make sure that there's definitely no power left in the system. So yeah, the car power is dead, but obviously I just want to give it some time to drain the SRS system. Okay, so it's been about an hour. I'm just going to double check there's still no power to the system. Obviously there's not. So what I'm going to try and do is get underneath the seat to see where this entertainment unit is. So I think what I'm going to try and do is rock the seat backwards. I've just cleared the back seat of all of the bits I've taken off. I'm just going to try and push the seat backwards and try and get access to the cables underneath it. It's pretty simple to do. You can see there's your pre-tensioner, which you don't want to muck about with. It looks like there's one cable in this which must have all of the power seat, the heated seat and the SRS stuff built into it. So let's just disconnect that. Okay, so with that cable disconnected, you can see there I've just pushed the seat further back. The carpet actually splits in two just under here, so we're just going to have to remove this front section. So what I've done in the door is just pull off the rubber trim and then lifted the side trim here. There is a cable running into this to light up the discovery part, so hopefully that is enough flexibility. Now we can just pull the carpet forwards and hopefully, yeah, there's the entertainment unit right underneath there. So let me just get the rest of this carpet out of the way. Okay, and with the carpet pulled forward, I haven't taken it all out, just enough to reveal what I need to see. I need to remove this plastic bracket which is in the way, so it should just be a case of undoing this screw and popping the rivet out. Okay, and with the rivet removed, I can lift this bracket up just enough to see the connectors on the back of the stereo unit. As you can see, there's a whole bunch, but the one I'm most interested in is this one in the top left, because it looks a lot like the one I've got on the wiring harness from the unit I bought from AliExpress. So let me just grab that and see if it matches up. So the first thing to note is the wiring harness. Obviously it comes with this loop through connector, and it is super long. Like it's all the way down into the footwell there, and it's not even uncoiled fully. I've got some grass here. I will need to find a way of routing that nicely under here. I'll do that after, but what I want to do now is essentially just connect everything up before I start putting the car back together, make sure it works. So yeah, I know whether to proceed with getting the car back together or not. Okay, so it's impossible to film it and do it at the same time, but I have connected the loop through connector now. So this is now part of the harness. What I need to do is get to the other side. This will need to connect into the screen, as will I think the original connector as well. So let me just kind of get all that rigged up as well. We can test it. So yeah, the actual screen part connects to the housing using a little ribbon connector there, just in focus. So let me connect that now. Also, you can see there's like little cutouts there and there where it should just slot in. So let's try that. Okay, so I've connected that ribbon cable to the back of the screen. It does slot in quite nicely, and there's a release button just here. So if you need to disconnect it in a later date, you can. I'm just going to now try and locate this into the screen area so I can connect the original cable to. Okay, so obviously it's not installed properly, but it's kind of in the right area. What I'm going to need to do now is test it. So to do that, I'm going to have to connect the seat back to the multi-plug before adding power. So I'm just going to reverse the last couple of steps and get on with that. Okay, so that's the seat harness reconnected. Okay, and I've just pushed the battery back down. I haven't tightened it up, obviously we're not going anywhere, but it's got a good enough connection that we'll be able to get 12 volts off of it. Okay, I'm not sure what happened to the audio at this point, so I'm just going to re-record this after. What I've done now is I've basically pressed the accessory on button, the start-stop button, and as you can see it boots into the original Land Rover screen. It looks exactly the same as it would have done before, just a little bit more stretched out across the larger screen. You can just see cycling through. It has all of the stuff you would recognise from a normal InControl Touch Pro. And if you swipe down from the top, you can see the Android buttons come up, so it's quite clearly an Android system. And yeah, all of the usual accessories still exist. So you've got your heated seats available. And yeah, swiping down from the top brings you back into the base Android system. So from there, you can see how you get into the other parts that would work. And it works at any other touchscreen. You just slide it across until you find what you need. But this is all I wanted to check at this point, just that it powers up and it works. So I'm going to disconnect it and carry on. Okay, so before I can put the carpet back, I've just had to make a quick routing decision. So based on where the kind of brains of the car stereo unit is, the cables come out on this side of it, so the driver's door pillar side. What I've done is I've routed this cable underneath this bracket before I put it back in with the trim clip. And I've run the cable, you can see it runs along here up to the central tunnel of the car, and from there I've started to run it up towards the dashboard. I haven't decided what to do with it from there yet, but this will give me enough to start putting the carpet back down and the seat back together. Okay, so I've got the rear section of the carpet tucked under. What I had to do was undo this screw here, just pull this clip off, push the carpet in, and it fitted. There's an air vent cover that goes in here, which is absolutely disgusting because it's probably never been looked at. I'm actually going to clean it up before I put it back in. Okay, so now we've got one clean vent, which will just slot into this thing here. I think it just kind of pushes into place actually. Yeah, push it down, it clips. And then I've got two trim clips which hold the carpet in place here. So one goes right there, and the other one, there it is, goes in here. And they both have a Phillips screw head. Oh, how's my finger over the screen? Ah, there it is. Yeah, they both have a Phillips screw head, which will hold it in place. So if I just push that into there, I'll give that a tighten up in a moment. So I have already reconnected the seat connector. So I'm just going to bolt the seat back down. Again, it's these 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. I have to start at the back because the seat is slid all the way forward at the moment. And then I'll reconnect the power to do the front. Okay, so hopefully installing the seat should just be a reversal of installing it. I've slid the seat back onto the rails. If there's a bit of resistance, it's because there's some locating pins that are at the front, so you need to make sure that drops into the holes. And once that's done, the holes should line up perfectly, and I can put those male Torx bolts back in. So once again, I don't have the right adapter for this, but a 10mm socket does fit it quite nicely, so I'm just going to torque these up and get them in nice and tight. Okay, all done, all tight. I will post the torque specs up. They're in the handbook, but essentially you just want to move them until they don't move anymore. Remember, this is the only thing holding your seat to the chassis of the car. Okay, so now I'm just going to reconnect the car battery as well. So again, I've put this bit of card here just to make sure it stays isolated. I'm just going to pop this onto the thingy, little click. Shows us we've completed the circuit. And then again, that just needs to be tightened up with a 10mm socket, quite handily. Battery's now going in nice and tight, that's not going anywhere. Perfect, so we've now got a connection back in the car. With the battery fully connected now, I can just add back the battery cover tray, which I hid down here. Rounds it going, let's go there. So it just sits over there hiding the battery. And again, there's these 5 finger bolts which will just hold it in place. So if I just pop one in, tighten up by hand, that's not going anywhere now. This one is in. Okay, cool. So we are done under the bonnet for now. Perfect. Okay. And eventually it will get back far enough that we can see the bolt heads, which are right there. And also here, I think there actually is where the locking pin is, but basically that makes the seat line up correctly, as you can see from the front and the rear. Okay, so what I've done now is I've routed the cable up the driver's side of the truck tunnel into the side here, and it will just pop out where the AC unit goes. So I'm just going to have to try and figure out a way of getting the cables that I require up into this top section. Let me figure this one out. In fact, it looks like maybe I can go up that way to a gap there. I think it comes all the way down there. So yeah, looks like there's a gap just behind the vent to the right here. Okay, that was quite easy to do. What I've done is there's an awful lot of surplus cable, so I've just kind of pushed that into the area above the little cubby hole. Obviously you can't see it from there, it's going to be hidden behind the AC panel. It's just beneath where the CD player is, and I've pulled the cables that are actually going to be required through to here. Some of them I guess will need to drop down into the glove box, for example the USBs, and I do suspect quite a lot of these won't be needed, so like the camera for example, because we're using the car built-in one. But yeah, it should now just be a case of getting this all connected to the main body of the Android unit. Again, I've just taken the screen off for now, just so while I'm manipulating this I don't risk smashing the LCD. But this green one here is what the purple connector here goes to, so this is what was connected to the previous car screen, and these white ones are for the new harness. So let's get those connected up now. Okay, so now I'm just getting the Android unit wired up. So the first thing is there's these 2 antennas which I've done finger tight, one there for 4G and one there for GPS. So the GPS antenna is self-adhesive. I've just stuck it to the top of the tunnel inside there, and similarly the 4G antenna is also self-adhesive, so stuck in there. There's a bunch of surplus cable, but I'm guessing there's going to be enough room there. The main harness cable comes with obviously all this stuff, which I'm not going to connect, so I don't think I need any of it. But it does come with 2 USB slots. So what I've done with those is I've routed them up through this gap here. And then, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's like a small metal hole. If you push through there, it will drop down into the back of the glove box. And the back of the glove box, where the fuse box is, you take off the cover and then you should be able to reach through. So right now I've got the 2 USB ends in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to need them. I'm probably going to leave them hanging in with the fuse box for now. Similarly, the this connector block here has a microphone, which again I don't think I'm going to use because there's one built into the front of the unit, and the other cable is for a 4G SIM card, which again probably isn't necessary because it will piggyback off the phone. But I've done the same thing as with the USBs. I've routed it through the back of the glove box and it's now dangling there, so I can just push them into the glove box for now and close that off. And now I'm gonna just connect in the final connector and try and mount the screen, and again I'm just gonna at that point check it works again. Okay, so it's a little bit fiddly, but I've managed to get the screen into the right place. There are locating pins just here and on the other side, which should mean your screw holes are lined up. The top part, the screen actually goes behind this lug, I think. So that will hold it in place, or will it? Maybe not. I don't think there's a screw hole there, but we'll see what happens with that one. This cable here was too short, the original screen cable, because on the new one the connector is further to the right, so I had to just kind of put it through. Like, there is a bit of slack on it, but the Land Rover cable management game is pretty tight. So I'm just gonna put the screen on the front of this and just check it powers up and has all the functions I need before I actually start getting the interior of the car back together. Okay, so I've connected the ribbon cable into the back of the screen unit and I've slotted the screen unit into place. I've just put in place the screw at the bottom here and the screw at the top there, and then the same on the other side to hold it in place. So let's just double check before I put the interior together that it works. So start button, Land Rover screen. Obviously it's a super glary day, so apologies for that. I'm just going to remove some of the light by closing the blind. That's made no difference. Oh, it actually does help. Okay, cool. So you can see from here we've got all of the, I guess you're going to call them legacy settings from the car. It's now jumped back into the Android thing, so I'm not sure how to get back to the Land Rover screen, but maybe it's just for me to play around with. I'll come back to that in a bit. Okay, so I've put the interior back together now. As you can see, all of the trim is done, including the end panels. And this is what the screen looks like when it's fully installed, with all of the interior decor of the car around it. Like, it feels fairly sturdy. One thing I didn't mention before is the way the Android screen connects its audio to the Land Rover's system is via a 3.5mm cable. So I had that cord up at the back of the screen. I think earlier I said I wouldn't need to use it, but I did. So what I've done was I've routed that cable basically down the inside of here through the transmission tunnel, and I've had to drill a small hole into this cubby box, which you can probably just see this cable coming through now, and that is connected into this here. So this is a USB auxiliary adapter. This came in the box. It was something that I thought I wouldn't need, but I do. By plugging this into your InControl Touch Pro system, it gives you the option on the screen of an auxiliary, and this is how the sound is carried. Okay, so I've just started the car up. It's booted into the standard Land Rover interface. I've now got the option, if I look at a source, of USB auxiliary. So if I click on that, it will now give me sound from the Android device. So if I come out of that and go back to the home page, now if I swipe down from the top, I drop back into Android, and as you can see, it's by Bluetooth connected to my Pixel 8a. So from now, if I click on the application list and go to CarLink 2, it's thinking about it. it doesn't look like it's going to let me record. Oh, it is going to let me record at the same time. So now it's loading up into Android Auto. So you can see on the right hand side, Waze is loading, and on the left I've got Spotify. So if I find a song, we've got the audio coming through the car speakers for Android Auto, which is great. I had to make one change from Android to get it to do, let's come out of CarPlay. I had to do one change to make the reverse camera come out of the car. What he was trying to do was switch to the input of the crappy little camera that comes in the package. So to do that, I can't exactly remember how I did it. It was, maybe it wasn't in settings. It's in vehicle settings, I think. Okay, yeah. So reverse type. So the default was set to installation mode or 360 VGA. So if I put it into reverse now with this set, what happens is it basically doesn't find a camera. It still shows you where your steering wheel's pointed, but it's not great. As you come out of it for half a second or so, you just about see the Land Rover one. So it is still there in the background. You need to change reverse types from 360 VGA back to original car mode. Now that that's set, if I put it into reverse, it will look like it used to do, which is what you want. Other than that, I've not really found anything else that's wrong with this. So I'm going to keep playing with it over the next couple of days. But yeah, essentially, like, you can just hit the car button to drop back into the original interface. So if you want to set your heated seats or your cooled seats or whatever, you do that there. And then when you want to go back into the Android interface, swipe down from the top, and then CarPlay again is available through the CarLink 2.0 application, which will load up. And once again, loading CarPlay has caused my phone to stop recording. But yeah, essentially that's it. It works. It's got CarPlay, it's got all of your original settings. I know it's quite a long watch. Thanks for following along with me. Hopefully you found it useful. Do add a comment if there's anything you need explained. But yeah, thanks again.